721, Big 550 KTRS. Rick Stream wants to be your next county executive, but first he had to get finished with his current job down there in Jefferson City. Good morning, Representative Rick Stream.
Good morning, McGraw. Thanks for having me on.
You got it. You are the chair of the House Budget Committee. You just got finished with the veto session. You guys got busy overriding Governor Nixon's vetoes, weren't you?
We did. We overrode 47 budget line item vetoes that the governor had imposed on us. In the state of Missouri, the history of Missouri, only 49 budget line vetoes have been overridden. So we did 47 this year of the 49. So it was quite a large number. And frankly, it was every one of them was a bipartisan support to override.
Talk about that for a moment, because the last couple of years you've had to twist a couple arms to try and get. And in fact, you many times, sometimes even on that big tax cut last year, you didn't get the 2/3 you needed. This year, there was bipartisan support, so the Democrats left the governor.
That's true. I think there's widespread dissatisfaction with the governor's leadership style on both sides of the aisle, especially the Democrats. But in this case, on these vetoes, and when a governor vetoes a program, he basically is saying, I don't like this program. It's not like he's withheld the money and he just wants to make sure he has enough money in the bank to pay the bills at the end of the year. When he vetoes, he kills a program. So we had an opportunity to override these, and basically he went after women, children, and minorities in these vetoes. It was pretty unbelievable what he did veto.
How did he go after women, children, and minorities? Because that's the triple threat there.
Sure, it really is. He vetoed programs for sexual assault and battery against women. We put money in the budget for that. He went after children by denying money for forensics exams for physically abused children. And he went after the minorities in the money that we'd put in the budget this year for the schools that were struggling here in the St. Louis metropolitan area and across the state for reading and math tutors, reading teachers, other programs that we put in for the schools. He vetoed all of that. We overrode him, put it back in, and of course now he's withholding it.
Right. So John Deal's on the show all the time for our board meeting, and we had him on the last couple of weeks talking about this, and he keeps saying that there's just a lack of communication between the governor and the legislature. Is that the way you see it?
Exactly. If you go back to back in the 80s and 90s when Chris Kelly, who was a Democrat from Boone County, spoke about this quite a bit. He said the governors back then who were Republican with large Democrat majorities in the House and the Senate, they would always be out of their office talking to the legislators in their offices. This governor has never come out of his office in the 6 years that I've been up there. He's never come to my office. He's never come to anybody's office as far as we know. So as a result, he doesn't communicate with even the Democrats in the House and the Senate on issues, much less with the Republicans. So as a result, you have a lot of legislation that we pass that the governor at the last minute doesn't like, so he vetoes it, which is why we end up having a large number of vetoes.
Yesterday comes out that Chris Nicastro resigns or retires. With everything going on in Normandy, with everything going on recently, with him vetoing that bill you guys put up there, what do you make of that?
Well, I think Dr. Nicastro, who has done a lot of good work over many years in education, and I'm not blaming her for anything, because she and I worked quite a bit on the education bill. We tried to craft a bill that would be good for the kids. That's what we were trying to do, to allow the kids in those districts to get access to a high-quality education. And she and I talked quite a bit on it. We weren't sure if the governor was going to veto it. We weren't even sure we were going to be able to pass it. But we did pass it. He vetoed it over a minor little issue on the private school situation, and we didn't have the votes to override it. So I think in her case, she tried very hard in Normandy, and I'm not sure they made much progress this past year.
Yeah. How's the campaign going?
Very good, very good. We're very excited about the progress we've made. We're getting, of course, all of our base is stable and supporting us. And I've made a lot of contacts in the African American community. A lot of Charlie Dooley supporters have called and said they want to help, and we're contacting them on a daily basis.
So when you first came to the show was, I guess, as the riots were going on, and that was, now we've had a chance to sort of digest it a little bit. We've had a chance to look at it. We've had a chance to watch it and talk. What are your thoughts going forward? How do we fix the broken problems in North County?
Well, I think it's a multi-front effort. As I've said when I've spoken publicly about this, it's not just one thing like education or jobs. Jobs are critical. We have to return jobs to St. Louis County. That's my number one priority. But then after that, you've got education, you have policing techniques, you have housing, and a lot of other issues that I think need to be addressed. And I have a good rapport with the African American legislators in the House and the Senate. I think if you talk to any one of them, they're going to say that I've been very open and fair. I've listened to their concerns while we were in the legislature, and I believe I can definitely work with them, and I have been. I've already been talking to them. I planned on running across the county when I filed. I definitely want to continue that dialogue so that when I am elected, I can hit the ground running with solutions.
One of the arguments is that these small little towns have a population of 600 people, and they have 6,000 traffic tickets. They have, a tenth of a mile long. They've got 1,000 people, and they have 7,000 traffic tickets. At town after town after town. Is there something that can be done, and what can be done to get these towns to stop writing so many tickets and living off of those tickets?
I think there definitely should be something done. I'm not sure exactly what the solution is, but it needs to be addressed because a lot of those traffic tickets lead to problems down the road, especially in the African American community. They don't have the money to pay for the tickets. Then they end up getting, they don't show up in court to get a bench warrant, and which leads to further problems down the road. I definitely think that communities should not.
Is that a county? I mean, can a county executive fix it? Does a rep have to fix it? Does a governor have to fix it? How do you fix that?
I think the county executive can have a lot of influence, whether he or she can actually pass laws to do that. But I think the county executive can definitely have influence on that issue as well as a lot of other issues that are plaguing the county.
And I was going to ask you, bridging the gap between police officers and all these little communities and rebuilding trust with many people in the community. How would you help with that too?
Well, it's clearly there is a divide, certainly up in the North County area. And when I've talked to the African American leaders about this, they're very candid about it. They say, in the white community, we view the police as protectors. In the black community, it's a different situation. So I think we need to address that. I think essentially I think we need to have more black police officers, which means they need to, at a young age, need to determine they want to be a police officer, and they need to be given the tools to get to that point. To stay out of trouble, and off of drugs, and everything else that comes with it, and to graduate from high school with an ability to read. I think a lot of our young African American boys are not getting the tools they need to graduate from high school and then to move on into productive careers. And I think that's a key that needs to be addressed in our county.
Representative Rick Stream is our guest, recapping the Missouri legislative veto session. He also wants to be your next county executive. I guess now it's full steam ahead for the county executive, right?
It is.
Yeah.
7 weeks from today.
Senator McCaskill is weighing into the county executive race. She was on St. Louis Public Radio yesterday, and she said this, Representative Rick Stream. I'd love to get your thoughts on this. She says, I've looked into Rick Stream's record in the Missouri legislature. His record looks like Todd Aiken. His position on women's issues is very extreme. I think he's perfectly nice man, but his policies are way out of whack with most of the voters in St. Louis County.
Well, I've been elected 8 times in Kirkwood, 4 times for school board and 4 times for state representative. If I was out of whack, they wouldn't be electing me. I have positions that are consistent with my community in Kirkwood and with St. Louis County. I have protected women's issues. We just talked about some of this stuff in the budget, that where we're protecting women who were sexually assaulted and battered. The governor of her party vetoed that money and is now withholding that money. So I have a solid record of protecting children and women and minorities in the budget and in legislation in the legislature.
That is Representative Rick Stream. Rick, you have agreed to debate
Yes.
Steve Stenger on this program. We'll get those dates for you, and we look forward to seeing you throughout the campaign.
Great. Look forward to it. Thank you.
You got it. 7:30, traffic and weather and news straight ahead.